Hello, in this video we're going to learn how to edit and delete a macro. In our previous lesson we learned how to create and save a macro, and we used a file. We ended up saving it as macro, and because we saved it as a macro enabled template, there is a different extension on the file, XLSM for macro. And that's important because if that wasn't there, then we wouldn't be able to run the macros. So I'm just going to show you if I exit from this document. Hopefully, there it is. It's on my desktop. And then when I reopen it, this is important for you to know. Macros have been disabled, so they're not enabled until you click on this button that says Enable Content. So that's important for you to know, because if you have not saved it as a macro enabled template, then whoever opens it next will not be able to access those templates. And for those of us who are marking your assignments, we'll know right away whether you've been successful in creating your macros or not if that yellow warning is not there. So if I click on my View button and go to Macros, I can view the macros. There should be the two of them there. One is Insert Rows and one was Name, and those were the two that we created earlier. Now in terms of editing and or deleting, it's probably pretty obvious if you just look down the right hand side, the buttons that you're going to choose to use. So to either edit or delete. So let's say, for instance, so we had the first macro types your name in, and the second macro inserted the two blank rows. Well, let's say that this person has left the company and now you're taking over all of their files, and so you want to change that macro to put your name in instead of that name. So you would go to your macros, view your macros, choose the one that you want to edit, and then click on Edit. So now here's where it gets technical, because a macro is a program that runs when you command it to run. So when you were recording it, all we were doing were keystrokes, right? We were clicking, we were typing, but what Excel was doing in the background was actually writing a program that would allow Excel to complete the function each time that you either told it to run or you typed the keyboard shortcut. So this is a computer language, HTML, that you may or may not know. Excuse me. But if you're doing just small editing, you can usually figure out what you need to change. So if I wanted to change the font from Calibri to Times New Roman, I would just type the new font in there. If I wanted a different size, I could just highlight that and type a new size. So let's make it 18, just so that we can see the difference when we apply it. So now the active cell is row 1, column 1, and it's got my name, Kathy Bauma, in quotes. But let's say that we wanted to change that because now Kathy Bauma has left and Anna Podebry, and I'm probably spelling it wrong, has come in her place. So you just find the text that you want to change, and it would always be enclosed in quotations. You type the new, and then you make your changes that way. So then if you go up to your file menu, you'll see that now there's a button that says Close and Return to Microsoft Excel, because really where we are right now is in an editor. So I'm going to close and return to Microsoft Excel, and hopefully those changes will be applied. So let's open a new blank document and see what happens when we try to run those macros. So if we view, let's go to Name and run it. Oh, look at that. So look at the two things applied. It's bigger because we changed it to 18 point, and the name changed from Kathy Bauma to Anna Podebry. So then if I go back to my macros and view and then I can apply the insert rows as well. Run, and then the 2 rows are inserted above the name. All right, so it's that easy to save a change to a macro. If I wanted to delete a macro, again, I just go back to my macros, I view them, I find the one I don't want to keep, I highlight it, and then I simply press the delete button and it will no longer be there. So I can just go ahead and delete. Do you want to delete the macro? Yes. All right, so now if I go back to my macros, view them, there's only one there now. So if you've made a mistake and it's not easy to correct through the editor, then maybe the safest way is to just go delete it and then re-record it. So you've got a number of options in creating and saving a macro and then editing and deleting. And it's that easy in Microsoft.